Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, you're going to meet the great Scott Reib. He is an attorney. He's a business strategist. He's best known as America's legal coach. He's also the author of this best-selling book. It's called The Shatterproof Entrepreneur. His incredible journey just ahead.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
I'm so excited for this show. Scott Reib is in the studio. He's known as America's legal coach. He's also the author of this best-selling book, The Shatterproof Entrepreneur. Scott, thanks for coming on the show.
Jeff, thanks for having me. I've
Yeah.
been looking forward to this.
Well, I love the name Shatterproof. So how did you come up with that?
I jokingly say because bulletproof's overused, but it really came from the idea that I believe a small business is the best vehicle to achieve your life goals and dreams. And those vehicles, they all have windshields. And those windshields do 2 things, vision and protection. And they only work because they're made of shatterproof glass. And so we want to build businesses in a way that they are shatterproof.
Outstanding. Let's put the book cover on the screen so we can talk about this. You launched this book in 2024. Is that correct?
That's right.
And then you've got another one coming up. What are some takeaways from this book?
Yeah, the biggest takeaway from this book is that I've found over the years, and I've been practicing law 30 years, that there's 2 kinds of business owners. There's one that I call captive, and there's one that I call shatterproof. And the captive business owners are the business owners that can't take a real vacation because they can't be away from their business. They are running from fire to fire to fire. They're being reactive. And then you have, everyone knows someone that is a shatterproof business owner where they seem to be able to take vacations whenever they want to. They're running several businesses, not just one. They aren't required to be there. They're living the dream life. And the reason they are able to do that and that they're shatterproof is because someone along the way gave them a map. It's not that you're not trying. It's not that you don't have the motivation. It's not that you're a bad person. It's that no one's showed you the way. And the Shatterproof Entrepreneur shows you the way through 6 phases of building a shatterproof business.
Outstanding. We're going to pull up your website. And as we scroll on the website, why don't you describe what a perfect client looks like for you?
Yeah, a perfect client for us, Jeff, is an entrepreneur that you could just be starting out, right? As long as you've got some capital, you're not undercapitalized, but you're doing business for people. You're trying to serve other people. And anyone that's doing that has some legal problems that they don't even know, right? They don't know what their structure should look like. They don't know how they should set up their contracts. They don't know if their brand is something they can actually protect. And those are the things that we do with every kind of business owner, from doctors to bricklayers to roofers. We work with everybody.
And you have a unique subscription model, very affordable. Do you mind sharing?
Yeah, we created the Access Plan back in 2012. I wanted to have this on-demand system where small business owners like me could call in with questions, have their contracts looked at, have all their companies set up in a way that's actually right and correct, and then maintained so that they don't have big problems pop up. And so we do that with this monthly subscription called Access. It starts at $425 a month. That's our launch plan. And then we go up to Guardian, that is $37.50 for people that are usually running a couple of businesses. You know, they're doing more than $10 million in sales, and they have a little more problems that need to be dealt with proactively. And so that's how we do it. It's been a really fun way to do business, because we're on the same side of the table with our clients, where most lawyers, if you ever had to hire a lawyer, are billing by the hour or the minute. And so you have a disincentive to call them, because every time you call them, it costs you money. And so we tried to remove that barrier by creating this subscription plan so that you can ask all the questions you want. because I've heard people say there are no stupid questions. They haven't heard enough questions. I've definitely heard some that I would consider stupid, but the problem is you don't know if it's a stupid question or not unless you ask the question, and you shouldn't have to pay to ask it. So we've created a way that you can ask those questions. We have monthly meetings with our clients. They have on-demand access to us through our different systems. So if you're running a business, there's going to be times where you just need this information, right?
Yes.
And having the right information at the right time is often the difference between success and failure. If you don't have access, you can't get that information.
Well, and especially with AI now, some problems are pretty easy to solve, but it's a disincentive for a traditional attorney to solve it quickly.
Correctly. Yeah, I had a partner years ago, like I said, I've been doing this 30 years, that I once asked, what's the rate we're going to charge this client? And he said, I don't care. And I said, what do you mean you don't care? And he said, well, as long as I control the time, why do I care what the rate is? And so that stuck with me over the years. He wasn't a bad person. It was just true that lawyers can basically decide how much they make by how much time they spend on your project, combined with how much they charge you for that time. And that's not how most business owners have to work. Most business owners have to set a price for their product or service and try to deliver it efficiently. And occasionally you make money, occasionally you lose money, and you then adjust. And I felt like we should have to do things the same way.
Absolutely. You were sharing with me one of your favorite success stories before the show. Would you share it with the audience?
Yeah, sure. I'm going to change names to protect the innocent, but let's say I had a client named Tom. Tom had been sued by a customer that he couldn't make happy. If you haven't run into that customer yet or client, everyone does. It really doesn't matter how good you are at what you do. Someone at some point is going to not like you for some reason, and sometimes they file lawsuits. Well, that happened to him, and he got sued at an inopportune time. He'd had a tragedy in his family and hadn't done some things that you have to do to maintain an LLC. So it was forfeited. Well, when that happens, you get sued individually, right? We were able to go in, fix the LLC, get it back where it needed to be, and then make some successful arguments in court to where he wasn't personally liable anymore, and we were able to then defend the entity that he had and win in court and have a jury go along with us. In fact, that was the last jury trial I tried in April of 23, and I hope I never try another one.
Right. Well, that's another thing that separates you from other lawyers. There's a lot of lawyers who've never seen the inside of a courtroom. They just try to settle.
Right. Yeah, and I learned a lot of lessons in the courtroom and that I can then use every day with my clients and trying to help them stay out of the courtroom.
Yes.
You know, one of those lessons that I learned from that case, because part of the problem he had was he had drifted a little bit from his lane. And one of my big rules for business is stay in your lane, right? So figure out what you do and do it really well. And when someone asks you to do something that's a little out of that,
yes,
you need to say no. Even though there's money attached, because that's where the big problems happen. You get out over your skis, you do something that's just slightly different than you normally do, and then something goes wrong.
And one of the things I love about you, Scott, is you give away the gold. You don't have to hire Scott to get a piece of Scott because he produces a lot of content. I found one video that I really like. Let's go ahead and roll that.
You wouldn't wait for a heart attack to see a doctor, so why do you wait until a business emergency to get legal help? Most business owners treat their lawyer like the ER. You don't call until something's already broken. You're under pressure, and you know the bill is going to hurt. But the way I've always seen it, legal shouldn't work like that. Legal should be primary care, ongoing, accessible, proactive, the kind of support that helps you stay healthy, instead of trying to recover after the damage is already done. Not $500 an hour once things go wrong. More like a trusted team that actually knows your business, so when questions come up, you get answers quickly. And when decisions need to be made, you're not doing it off guesswork. That's not only better legally, it's better for how you operate, how you sleep at night, and what you keep in your pocket. Legal shouldn't feel like a last resort.
Brilliant. And we're both friends with the Ziegler family, and I noticed that Tom Ziegler wrote a foreword to your book.
That's right.
And you're certified by Ziegler Legacy Training.
That's right. Yeah, I was class 17 of Ziegler Legacy Certified Trainers. I could have been in class 1. I met Tom Ziegler right before that class, but I didn't quite understand what the opportunity was at that point, but I got in there as fast as I could, and it's such an honor to represent that family's legacy.
Yes, and tell us what that brand means, Ziglar Legacy Certified Trainer.
Yeah, so that's all based on the teachings of Zig Ziglar. Zig is no longer with us, but he's still a mentor of mine. He's someone that I can listen to regularly and get wisdom. That most of Zig's wisdom comes from biblical principles, things that have worked forever, will work forever, and they're timeless. And Zig's family, after his passing, knew they had to carry on that legacy. And the best way to do that was to train people and certify them in what Zig taught the world so that they can then go out on smaller stages than Zig for sure, and spread the word that Zig had for everyone, that the more people you can help get what they want, you can get what you want.
Amen. And you have another book coming out?
I do. The Shatterproof Leader will be coming out in July. It's based on 8 pillars of leadership that I found Truett Cathy really lived by, and how he built the Chick-fil-A empire. And I think it's a fascinating study. It's got some workbook to it, right? So there's some work to do in there to help apply those pillars to your life. But I think it's going to be really fun.
Well, we don't have time for all the pillars, but what's one that stands out in your mind?
Well, one would be servant leadership. He built that his whole business on being a servant. He was, even as the CEO, he would go into stores and help be a servant to the people that worked for him. And the people that worked for him, you can read story after story of someone coming into the Chick-fil-A restaurant and in a tragic moment that their car is broken down, something's happened, and the employees will take the initiative to go help solve that problem for the customer.
And a very principled man, because famously they're not open on Sunday. If they wanted to grow their bottom line by 15%, all they'd have to do is open up on Sunday, but they don't do it.
No.
Yeah. All right, we have about 2 minutes left, so look into the camera on the left and talk to that entrepreneur who probably needs to hire you.
Yeah, so if you have a business, there are at least 5 what I would call critical mistakes that you need to avoid. The best way to avoid those would be to get with someone that knows what those are, knows what the patterns are. We can help you do that. The best way we can help you do that is through our 5 Mistakes free webinar. You can go to reiblaw.co/5 mistakes and get on the waiting list and get in that short webinar, and we'll show you some of the patterns that you need to avoid in your business and then how to fix those things.
Outstanding. Scott, thanks for coming on the show. We're going to end with his website, which again is reiblaw.com. The great Scott Reib. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks, Jeff.
That's it for now. We'll see you next time.